Hey everyone, I did not plan on going live this morning. As you can see, I have just left my workout literally like 2 minutes ago. I'm like watching people exit the studio. But I had a really just cultural remembering and moment in there, and I felt like it was really appropriate to share this Friday morning. So, quick bit of background. I work out at a spin studio, and the studio, like many gyms after the pandemic, has struggled to maintain their enrollment. And so 2 months ago, they shut down half their studios in Chicago and let go of a bunch of instructors. And it was just really sad. Luckily, a lot of my favorite instructors were still there. And I often take this one at 8:30 on Friday morning with this woman, Naz, who's amazing. And today, when I walked in, I noticed that Ryan was there, who's another instructor who I love, who I often take at 9:30 on Saturday morning. And that's unusual because of the way the classes are staggered. Usually it's just one instructor in a studio at a time. And all of a sudden, I immediately was like, what's going on? Is Naz in trouble? Like, why is Ryan watching class? What's happening with this? And for the whole 45 minutes, I was a little distracted and a little bit like, what's he doing here? He's not riding, which sometimes instructors do. They kind of get in and ride and take someone's class. But he was just watching and sitting in the back, really just kind of chill and not noticeable. I just happened to be near him and I also know him. And so was like, what's going on? And it just reminded me so here's where the lesson comes for all the EDs and principals and CEOs watching. It reminded me so much of what happens in schools in particular, but also in other settings where observation is appropriate, like training institutes or classes. What happens when you are trying to shift a culture from one where observation and feedback of peers and from leaders is the norm to one where it has not been the norm? Like that is it seems like in some ways a simple thing on its surface, right? People will just start going to classes and they'll just start observing and they'll be able to give feedback and get better. But it is a big shift culturally for the students in the class, for the people around, for a lot of the insecurities and fears that tap into many of us as humans. And so it really had this moment where I was able to remember sometimes in schools where we were trying to swing the pendulum to being more active and engaged, and how that was really, it just took some time and took some work, and there were some casualties, not literally, but in terms of feelings and emotions and insecurities and beliefs. And it is really a point of change and a point of transition that can be really important and really great, but also just requires some skill to go through. And so at the end of class, Naz said, oh, you saw Ryan here today, he's helping me, we're all helping each other get better. And so it was like kind of clear that it was just, pure observation. But I've taken literally, I think today was my 493rd class, and I haven't seen it before, or at least if I have, I don't remember it, or it certainly was not since coming back after the pandemic in the last few years. And so I think that in some ways it reminded me of how I was thinking about a lot of leader moves and trying to make that shift as I work with some clients who are trying to make those shifts in their schools themselves. So hopefully this is useful. If you're thinking about this, maybe you're someone who's trying to shift to this, maybe you've been through this before, maybe you know someone who's trying to do it, but hopefully this is a helpful video. If you like, you can always book a call with me. My website, I don't know if I have it here. How do I do this on my phone? You can always, there we go. You can always book a call with me if you want to talk about this, because I do work a lot with leaders on how to incorporate that change and incorporate that transition. And I also am going to have a webinar I'm announcing later today that will be about it's called Stop the Cultural Bleeding, a roadmap to improving school culture. And it doesn't have to be about like gushing blood. It doesn't have to be about like this turnaround, this culture is toxic. It can be like, there is a problem and I want it to stop before it gets worse. So anyway, hopefully that'll be helpful. So happy morning. Good morning. I'm going to go get my protein shake, be ready to roll. But hopefully this was a helpful little insight for you all, and have a great and wonderful Friday. Take care.